to our interactive segment this afternoon. Public relations practitioners in the country will be required to be registered and accredited over the next 3 years. Now, this follows a recent survey which found that many public relations practitioners do not have the minimum qualifications required to provide the strategic counsel expected of the profession. Now, the survey revealed that although 47% of PR practitioners hold basic degrees in communication and or related studies, industry-based qualifications should be a prerequisite to excellent public relations. Now, the survey conducted over 6 months was commissioned to establish the current status of the PR profession in order to address the challenges facing the practice. With me in the studio to take a look at the state of the PR industry in Kenya and the findings of that survey is Justice Waimiri Kungu. He is the Secretary of the Public Relations Society of Kenya, and Mrs. Kentice Tikolo, a researcher and PR consultant. Well, welcome, gentlemen and lady, to our studio. It's your first time here.
Yes,
and you're looking great. You're also looking great. You just look like PR representatives indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Business Watch. Well, the first question, I'll go to you, Kungu. Tell us about this research, being the secretary of the Prsk.
Well, this is something that we've been planning to do over a long period of time. We have wanted to find out the current status of the PR profession in this country. You know, in terms of what is the size of the profession, what are the titles that the people go by, you know, and what is the growth potential, you know, of the industry. And so about 6 months ago we commissioned this research, and we're very happy with the findings that have come out. It's a first of its kind, and so we are hoping that, you know, looking back and looking forward, we'll be able to see how we can implement some of the recommendations that have come out of that research.
And of course, before I talk to Mrs. Tikolo here, I want to know, what is a PR? What is the structure of a PR company? What does PR mean? Public relations, what does it mean? Break it down.
That's an interesting question, Ken, because PR has you know, varied interpretations. People think the PR is different things, and it means different things to different people. But professionally, PR is, you know, the function, the management functions the function that helps a company enhance its image. It's the function that helps an organization manage its relationships with different stakeholders. You know, like you manage finance, like you manage HR, you also need to manage stakeholders and manage their image and expectations. So that is what public relations is all about.
Of course, I want to know, most of the time when something goes wrong, we often hear people say when someone is trying to correct it, that is a PR exercise. Maybe there's a relation in that?
No, that should not really. It's really a misconception. It's a misuse of a word that, you know, has continued to be there over a long period of time. But really, it's because people don't understand, you know, what the profession is all about. But it is a profession that is very critical to the growth of any organization, like any other is, like finance is, like HR is, like engineering is, production, you know, and all of that. So, you know, and that is the level that we want to take this profession in our country.
Of course, it's something picking up. Let me go to Madam Tikolo now. Tell us, the research was commissioned, you did the research, and maybe some basic findings about PR companies in this country.
First of all, I'd like to just correct the issue about the PR exercise. Mm-hmm. This has come out of some practitioners who do not practice in an ethical manner, and you end up with what is called internationally as spin. And as a result of that, where you have people trying to cover an organization, give an image that is not true. Mm-hmm. And everybody can tell that, look, you know, what is being given to us is not true. And so people, you know, started calling that a PR exercise. Right. And this survey is one that is going to help us to bring the image of PR to where it should be, right, so that we remove this notion of a PR exercise. Right. And a key finding from the survey was that PR practice in Kenya is still behind where the world is, especially in relation to standards. We just don't have a clear standard of practice, and as a result of that, we have all these interpretations, right from top management to the practitioners themselves. And it became very clear from the survey that unless we start standardizing the entry into practice, unless we standardize the training that our PR practitioners are getting, unless we standardize who is training these practitioners, then the profession will continue being lackluster and not playing the strategic role that it needs to play in the management of reputation for corporates.
All right. Well, I'd want to talk also about the qualifications that will require a PR officer or someone practicing public relations. But I was chatting with Junadine Kariuki earlier on Twitter, and one thing I asked her is about the age, 20 to 45, and majority, the finding also shows that the majority practicing PR are ladies. Why is that so? Okay, how she told me that it's because it comes naturally to the ladies. I don't know what you say.
But that is the world over. The practice tends to have a lot more ladies, although again, when it comes to the top managers, you find that the men who are in the practice tend to earn more, tend to have, you know, the bigger titles. So we are trying to break into the glass ceiling of the PR practice. The fact that we have more ladies could be indication that men mostly prefer to do, you know, it's given like a feminine kind of profession, and yet we know very well that the consultants, especially the consultancies, the agencies, tend to be run by men. Right. So while the survey was saying we have more females than male, when it came to the consultants, you find more males than female. And so we were wondering, is it the risk-taking or what could it be?
All right. I want to come to you, but first I'll read something that was said by the Minister for Information and Communication. As a ministry, will assist the society in implementing the recommendations of the survey in order to create professional regulatory standards. That is something that we want to talk about, but let's talk about the practice, the normal practice. Regulations. Do we have regulations into this society? Because when I exit the media today, I'll be looking at starting a firm to start a PR company. Is there regulations that bars me, for example, from starting a PR company?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's an excellent question because the truth is, right now we don't. We don't have a standardized process or procedure of welcoming new members into the profession. Now that is going to change, because one of the things that what we are saying now is that to be able to practice PR today in this country, you require to be accredited. And to be accredited means you'll have to be a member of the professional association, and that is the Public Relations Society of Kenya. And two, the next step will be you will need to be accredited. Now, it will not stop there. The next stage will be you'll be required to undergo continuous professional development, so that every year you undertake certain courses, so that your accreditation can remain alive. All right. So that's where we are at right now, and it's because also the profession has just grown rapidly. It was not understood, like I said earlier. So now with this growth that is happening, it needs to be standardized. It needs to be professionalized,
regulated, and just like the legal profession where we have regulation, and you have to renew your license in order to practice. I'll ask you a question about some challenge in the practice or in your findings. A key finding was the challenge posed to the practice by lack of understanding of the functions by management, creating various challenges including inappropriate reporting lines, budgets, and conflict with complementing disciplines such as HR, legal affairs, and marketing. That paints a picture of an industry in a disaster to me, for example.
Exactly. You'll find that the survey brought out the fact that we have PR practitioners reporting to HR people, or reporting to legal affairs, or some other person, whereas they should be reporting directly to chief executives. They should be in the strategic in a strategic position where they provide counsel, because communication and PR are actually the bloodline of an organization. And so that confusion clearly comes from the fact that people don't understand the role of PR. And the survey brought this out clearly, because the practitioners, 80% of the practitioners actually said that their biggest challenge is their managers understanding the role of public relations. At the moment, you'll find that a PR person is measured based on the number of times the organization is seen in the media.
How many accounts they run, or
how many times your CEO is seen in the media, in the papers, on the TV. But nobody is measuring the impact of communication all round. And media is just one of the channels of communication that you have. And that would actually be press agentry. And for an organization to benefit from public relations, we must have strategic plans that align with the strategic plans of the organization, strategic communication plans that align with the strategy of the organization. So you'll find practitioners don't sit in the relevant meetings that make decisions on the strategy of the organization, and yet they are expected to then come up with strategies that communicate that plan. It becomes a bit of a problem. So you have the top management expecting the practitioner just to get them out into the papers rather than manage their stakeholder relations and ensure that the reputation of the organization all round is well managed and well placed to make the organization make the most of its opportunities outside.
All right. This is to me, it strikes something. Industry-based qualifications should be a prerequisite to excellent public relations.
Yeah, that basically means that once you have graduated from the university, whether with a degree in communications or any other degree, you need to go a step further and obtain relevant industry qualifications, and they're there.
Things are not taught in school.
Specific public relations. No, they're taught, but it's just that you need to go out as a practitioner and now find out where you can attain certain courses and take them so that you can attain relevant industry. That's what we mean by that. Chartered Institute of Public Relations. PRSK itself has its own courses, among others. And so what we're saying as well, following on that point, is that we're going to collaborate with other institutions of learning. We want to create these linkages with the universities, with the Ministry of Higher Education and other stakeholders to ensure that the training is relevant and is industry specific and relevant.
All right. Well, we are running out of time, and before I let you go, perhaps I'll go back to Madam Tikolo. Maybe the government has signified their willingness now to implement this report moving forward. What are some of the key areas that you like seeing implemented immediately, for example, to streamline this sector?
We need immediately to determine the minimum skill qualification that a practitioner must have. And that is normal because even the legal profession has gone through a transition to reach where it is. There was a time when they were apprentices. They never needed any particular qualification in order to practice. But we must come up with a minimum standard of training for our practitioners, and even the curricula must be standardized, and the level of the practitioners who are teaching these trainings must also be standardized. And that is in line with the rest of the world. You'll find that out there we have serious research going on in communication and PR, thereby lending to the growth of the profession, and so that organizations are best able to benefit from this research that is going on and making the practitioners grow better and better for the sake of the organizations that they serve.
All right. And finally, Mr. Waimiri, what are some of the things that haven't been done right that you now will want to see going forward, PR firms doing right?
Yeah, I'm very happy that we are where we are right now because we're going to move forward together with all the stakeholders. One of the things is we're going to create a very strong ethical grounding within the professional association, a commission that will be looking at various issues, complaints from clients, for instance, to be able to standardize the process of making sure that clients get a standardized and exemplary service from all the firms who will be required to be members and to participate fully.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kentice Tikolo, PR consultant, and of course you did the research on the study. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And of course, Waimiri, Kungu, thank you so much for coming. And that's it for this afternoon's edition of Business Watch. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back with a comprehensive coverage of today's business stories later on at 9 p.m. during the big story. I'm Ken Mijungu. Good afternoon.
Business Watch was